welcome to the lounge. I know it's been a minute. I've had some technical difficulties, but we have made some repairs and replacements, etc. And we are back. Running a little late on this one, but there is a week left for this. A little different. Alexandra Frund Clinton is on talking about her game, the Deittman Files, a ghost hunting RPG, which is powered by Apocalypse. We love those. It's really cool. It's got day of this release. It'll have 7 days left, so get on it, check it out. It's hit its goal, so you're gonna get it. So what do you got? Hey, that's great. Alexandra's awesome. Legit ghost hunter. Just check this out. It's a lot of fun. So I'm gonna open by telling you about this pasta. So
Please
my wife discovered this, and it's amazing. It's called carbonara. Have you heard of it?
That's in fact what I ordered.
Is it really?
It is.
Have you had it before?
In Italy.
Okay.
So I might be a little disappointed, but do you have a good way to make it from home?
So she will take, let's see, let me run down. She'll start boiling the pasta. We use bacon with it. You're supposed to use like some other like pork-based meats with it, and unfortunately we've never found any that we can get that taste as good as like thick cut bacon.
I think that's fair.
But we've started twisting the bacon when we cook it. So we twist it, and you can cook a lot of bacon that way, and it cooks really fast, and it cooks nice and crispy, but not like so crispy that it's weird. We get the bacon going, and then she'll take 6 egg yolks and just use the yolks. And then she'll add fresh grated Parmesan cheese, put some pepper. It's really simple. And then just kind of like mix that all together, and then mix in the pasta and the bacon around the same time. Mm-hmm. And then what she'll do is she'll get some of the pasta water that, because you put a little salt in pasta water to get it going. And she'll put a little bit of the pasta water in there to kind of loosen it up, but not enough to cook the egg at all. And it's amazing. Like, it's one of my favorite dishes ever. So.
It sounds delicious.
Yeah. Now I want some. But it's very, I love that you ordered carbonara though. That's fantastic.
I saw it and I'm like, this is way better than basic Alfredo. Let's go.
The last time we had it, we had freshly laid eggs.
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't think I'll ever get that.
Listen, if you have friends who are like, boy, we're thinking about getting some chickens, like, you should encourage them to do so. I wouldn't recommend getting them, but I would recommend encouraging friends to get them. Because we have friends, they love their chickens, but every once in a while we'll see them and they'll be like, oh, here's a couple dozen eggs, or here, like, and they're just like the best eggs you can get.
Yeah, fresh from the source.
So welcome to Pasta Hour.
I could talk about this all day.
There's I think there's a distinct lack of pasta-based role-playing games.
Okay, well, all right. So idea generation. You all play a different kind of pasta. I'll take the bow tie.
Yeah. This seems like a good idea to noodle over. That's
so true.
I got to be careful, or I'll also start punning like crazy, and it just is unending. But you have a game that
I do.
Called the Deittman Files, a ghost hunting RPG. and it is a Powered by the Apocalypse based system, which are some of our favorites here at the lounge. You know, we see I've seen a lot of those over the years that are just, you can do like some really cool stuff with that. So talk to me about the game. Like,
yeah, sure. I'll say that it is powered by the Apocalypse system, but I like to think that we're still pretty loose with it. Some people feel like it can be, that system in particular has its own ways of being pretty rigid. Every system does, you know, it seems like every system has one kind of thing where people are like, oh, you have to do it this way. We built this so that it was very, very flexible. From the GM and player side, because we started playing a lot of Powered by the Apocalypse games in the past year when we were all online, and we wanted something that was pretty low stress, you know, something that we could really just ease into whenever we felt like it, get some good laughs out of it, and tell a fun story. And we just found that the Powered by the Apocalypse system really allowed for that. So we took it with the other games that we were playing, modified as we were playing the way we liked it, and then decided that we were going to just create our own worlds and create our own modifications and just play the game that we wanted to play. And it is the Deittman Files. It's based off of my novel Echoes and Ashes, a paranormal mystery. So it has a little bit of established lore, which absolutely nobody knows or needs to know going into this. Even my friends just smile and nod when I make a reference because they just like to humor me. But we created it because we're a lot of ghost hunting enthusiasts, and it was really hard to do over the past year. So we figured if we can't go out to the ghosts, we're gonna bring them home to us.
That seems totally fair. I do love that there's established lore, because I'm like I love continuity and lore. I'm a little bit obsessed with that. So it's always cool that it's like, this is based off a thing. Like, even if it's not a thing that I know or can actively reference, it's like, oh, I can look that up and like learn more about this world.
Yeah, exactly. We actually, just today, we opened up, on our Kickstarter, I opened up another 25, backer slots for the tier that we call the psychograph, which includes a signed copy of the book, because we sold out within a few days.
That's
and
awesome.
I wasn't expecting there to be such a rush for the books, you know, for the hardbacks. So I was like, oh, surely 25 will be enough. We'll have plenty left over. Not everybody's going to say, yes, I want the book that goes with it as well. But they did. So we opened more, and that made me feel very warm and fuzzy inside. So it was exciting.
I can imagine. That's what an awesome thing. Like just to have people who are backing this going, hey, I want everything. I do that sometimes though when I'm kickstarting and I'm like, can I get everything? Like, you know, and if
give me a bundle.
Yes. Yeah, like give me stuff. So yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the game itself. So as we mentioned, based on Powered by the Apocalypse, but you said it's a little bit looser.
So I put it in kind of like my GM notes and everything that, you know, as you're playing this, just remember that the goal is really to like have fun with your players and tell a good story. And I feel in particular, because I really like to write a lot of mysteries, that sometimes the best stories require just like, you know, fudging it a little bit. So, you know, we give the guidelines on how to use the mechanics and how to use the moves and ways to encourage, you know, player exploration. But we really hope that people will just kind of use that as an outline And, you know, depending on the kind of people they're playing with, play to their players, you know, go ahead and give them more information than they might have actually uncovered, or, you know, let them roll with whatever they think they found and maybe work it into the story. Just in general, I just think that, it's just better if you're aiming for the end result rather than making sure everybody follows every step to get there. So ours is a very, very loose guideline. We give you the moves, we give you the mechanics, and we say, please run with it.
Awesome. I like that a lot. And you break it down character-wise between psychics and investigators.
Yes.
Each, right? Yeah.
Yes. So currently we do have 8 of each. We are looking, if we hit some stretch goals, to add on a 9th investigator, written by our guest writer, Michael OJ, who should be hopefully releasing Modern Gods later this year. He's looking to add on 1 more class, and then we have a kind of standalone class that we're calling the Spirit to make available as well for players who experience character death, if they would like to try to play a ghost in the game. But yeah, so we have it broken out into the 2 archetypes, as we call it, and each class or playbook follows one of those archetypes and their subcategories. So I'm a really big fan, if people know the movie / miniseries Rose Red. It's a Stephen King production based off of the Diary of Ellen Rimbauer, which is kind of a weird take on The Haunting. It goes in, it's horror buffs. I love it. It is one of my favorite things. I love to watch it every year. And the whole plot behind it is that a parapsychologist gets a team of psychics to go into a haunted mansion and try to revive it. And, you know, shenanigans ensue, people die, really bad ghostly CG graphics. It's great and I love it. And I kind of took that and I wanted to play that. Like I want to play, you know, some people have psychic abilities, going and trying to do automatic writing or throwing fireballs because they're with their pyrokinesis. But some people are the good old fashioned ghost hunters who are going around with a camera and going, is anybody there? And just hoping for an answer, because that's what I do in real life.
Now that was another part that I definitely want to talk to you about, because I've had almost exclusively game designers on. I can't think of any that wasn't a game designer that I've had on my show, but I've never had an actual ghost hunter on my show. So that's a first.
Well, first of all, I will say anybody can be a ghost hunter if they go and look for ghosts. So you don't need to be a professional. I can say, and I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but I can say that I did actually get paid to go and ghost hunt. So I can say that I was actually a paid ghost hunting professional, and I do think that there are not that many people who can, you know, claim that one.
Listen, I've only been paid a few times to perform comedy on stage, but I have been paid a few times.
Then you are a professional comedian.
Professional comedian, yeah. So.
Yes, yeah. So ever since I was a kid, I've had a super big love of the paranormal, the supernatural. And for me, I think it started, I was, you know, like a toddler, and my dad was working on his master's degree, and my mom would go out with her friends or whatever. And my dad would sit me down in a beanbag with like my bottle or whatever and put on X-Files while he worked. So I was like 3 or whatever watching X-Files. And that was my childhood. So it really shaped me, I think, growing up. And I discovered Scariest Places on Earth when I was like 10. Loved it and thought how cool it would be to go on Scariest Places on Earth. And then the ghost hunter craze sort of took over. For high school, I did it as a senior project. And then from there, I just said, you know what? My friends and I can do this. And we go out, try to go a couple times a year. I got a job with a company that did ghost hunting, and I worked with them. And then just sort of moved on to my own thing because I I like to plan things. I like to do things.
Sure.
So I can say I've been to some of the most haunted places in the world.
Wow.
One of my claims to fame is that I did get to investigate Lep Castle in Ireland,
Okay.
which was fantastic, and the basis actually for my second book. And I've been to Waverly Hills, Trans-Allegheny. I'm going to Moundsville Penitentiary in like 2 weeks. Um,
Oh, wow.
just abandoned Lake Shawnee. I've been all over the place, and it's so much fun. I love it.
That's great. It's one of those things where that seems like a circle that you would run into. Okay, there's a lot of speculation about those elements.
Sure.
I'm going to front this by saying I'm not one of those people.
That's okay.
Like I believe that basically anything is possible. I've had my own encounters with the supernatural, so like I'm not gonna say, oh no, it can't possibly happen, because I've been there, and but there is an element, I think, sometimes of people that go into it that say, from a cynical standpoint, that are going to try to take advantage of people and everything like that.
Absolutely. You know what? You are so right. And I will say that people like me who we go and we do this often, you can start to identify very quickly who those people are. And so it helps doing your own research. Because, and again, I'm not gonna name names here, but I've been to places and they have certain stories that they really like to talk about and like to ham up. But the truth is there's no proof of it. No proof of it at all. But they still tell the stories like it is. And every time I go back and I hear like another person telling it, it becomes more elaborate, like the fish that grows in size, where they say, yes, we've got death certificates. We have documented this activity. We know that this happened then. And it's not true. It's just flat out not true. And we're like, that's great. And we just sort of nod and smile, because it's not always the tour guide's fault that they're just repeating what they're told.
Sure.
But yeah, like there are a lot of places that will absolutely just try to put in your head because they're trying to make a quick buck. And you know what? Like, it's going to happen. But at the same time, you can also rely on your own experiences. So if you go to these places and you take everything that is said with a grain of salt, but then something happens to you, then that's enough. You should just go off of that. Go off of what you experienced, and, disregard what everyone else says as their claims, because you know what you know and what you experienced. And that's what I go for, is so that I can have that experience in that moment.
Have you had... so I guess, I mean, this is another thing I've never talked about on my carbonara and my experiences with ghosts. So that's the big episode of the lounge. But so when I was 10 years old, my parents were looking at buying a new house. And it was this big place on Lake Ontario. It was at the end of a road, and there were all these like rumors about it. I didn't know any of this. They take me to that place, and I walk inside, and I'm like, I don't want to be here. Like right away, as a 10-year-old kid, I don't want to be here. Let's go. Let's get out of here. I don't want, And my stepdad was like, what's your problem? I got really upset, and in the end, I ended up, I think I just ended up waiting in the car. And I eventually did go through the place at some point, but it was very uncomfortable. And so they were kind of like, well, my mother would tell this story years later, and she would always say like, oh, well, we were just like, oh, what a dumb kid, stuff like that. And my uncle, who has never before talked about anything, the paranormal or in that regard at all. comes to town, and they go to take him to look at this house, and he walks in one step, and he's like, "Don't buy this house." Like there's something weird here. And it turns out that there was some sort of manifestation there. They had an ongoing series of issues, and the people that moved in, we didn't end up getting it. The people that moved in had a number of incidents where like things they had were dumped into the lake.
Oh no.
Yeah, and things were moved around, and they couldn't get into doors and stuff like that. And I ended up going back there years and years later as an adult, and it had been all fixed up, and it looked really nice. And I didn't get anything remotely like that same feeling. So it was kind of like, there was that part of me that was like, was it real, or was it like the kind of thing where people treated the place well and then, made things better? I mean, I don't know the science behind it. I just know what I felt.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to say. And to bring it back around to my book and the game, so the idea with all of this is that Dr. Deittman is studying all of this. And his idea is that, we don't know what's out there, but how will we know if someone isn't actively studying this, so that if the day comes that the proof is there, that we can capture it, that we can study it, we can learn about it, how can we have that if someone's not looking for it?
Sure.
So I think that's the fun thing. So I know some people think that those of us who love to go on and do the investigations and stuff are a little bit ridiculous because we actually, believe that this stuff could be possible. But it's just like, what? How will we ever know if someone's not looking?
Well, it's like any other science. Until you quantify it, you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
Now the game itself, so is that basically the whole gist of the game is finding these things and quantifying them and kind of building up that the science of it in this world?
That's the premise of it, where we don't go into it and give the mechanics. It's not quite like Phasmophobia for the players, where you've got a list of evidence and you're trying to uncover this. If you are the GM and that's the way you run it, have at it. Please do. It would be so easy to take that kind of formula and put it in for your players. We do it more as just the basis of why the team is together. Because I feel like in games, that's often the hard part, is why are you as a team getting together to do whatever this is? Mm-hmm. And so in this, Dr. Deittman is sending out his team to go investigate a case. Most times, that's the way we've been playing it, at least. Mm-hmm. So the case could be a haunting. He could be sending you out maybe to go track down, rumors of a cryptid. Or maybe you are called in as private investigators to look into a cold case that, has never had any leads, and maybe your psychic abilities can help. Mm-hmm. So our idea is that he's interested in learning about the paranormal, in, proving what's real and what's not real, and you are playing his consultants who go on to location for him, because he's a very busy man and can't be there himself.
Of course, he's running the whole
organization.
Yeah, I don't know, that makes total sense to me. I love the idea. So this is kind of why I told that story too. Is like, I don't want to go to a haunted place because of that. Because that was a real, that was jarring. But being able to emulate that experience is something that seems like I'd really enjoy. I mean, I enjoy horror games. I enjoy horror films and everything like that. I don't enjoy like I'll watch really, gross graphic films with terrible things happening, but don't put on a medical channel where somebody's doing an actual surgery, because I'm not. No. I'm fine with the fake stuff.
Yeah.
but I like that idea of being able to like kind of emulate this thing that I've kind of in the real world I've kind of touched on, but like, yeah, I don't want to do it, but like maybe, maybe I could play a psychic who has that same kind of thing, and what would that be? Clairvoyance, medium, something like
Well,
that.
yeah, if you wanted to be able to contact them directly, you could be a medium. If you didn't like the idea of being direct, you could go with a psychograph, which is an automatic writer. So you could just write what they're saying instead of having to actually talk to them. But things like that, we have it in there so that you could play that. But also, if you're a big fan of like horror genre, there's an exorcist character if you wanted to try to play like a John Constantine. We have now with our new class, the Hunter, if you wanted to play, Sam or Dean Winchester. Like we have, because I am a big pop culture buff, like I love all of that, and I love ghost hunting, and maybe I want to play Zach Bagans, but maybe I want to go play Sam Winchester, so we have a lot of different references built in for people like you who really enjoy the horror genre. And maybe if you don't want to create your own character, you could probably find your character already in one of those classes.
Yeah, that's cool. And that's always the nice thing about the Powered by the Apocalypse is like you don't have to you don't have to fully forge something out of your brain.
Right.
You can kind of here's these guidelines that you can utilize, and then they're always and it kind of looks this way just in kind of looking over your character sheet there. Like it looks like there's lots of nice little wiggle room to kind of customize things.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Even with the classes or the playbooks, we have ways for people to buy into other classes or playbooks, so that you could say, well, I want to take the firepower from the pyrokinetic, but I want to talk to the dead like the medium. And I also want to be able to, be a spiritualist who can put up protective wards like the Exorcist. So you can pick and choose. There's a way to do it. We do make it a little harder to jump archetypes to go from like psychics to investigator and investigator to psychic. But we try to leave it very flexible so the possibilities of the way you want to create your character are pretty much limitless.
Now, I'll say, so I'm going to compare it to a game that I've played a lot of, Monster of the Week.
That is one that keeps coming up.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna say one of the things that Monster of the Week does a few things really, really well in that if you want to tell, I reference Buffy or Scooby-Doo all the time. If you want to tell those stories, it's good for that. If you want to tell an ongoing story about some pretty terrible things happening, you can do that. This seems to be a cleaner version of that, where you don't have to get as messy as Monster of the Week wants you to get,
Yes, and I think that comes back to how I really lean heavily into like the narrative storytelling when you do RPGs. We put it there so that you could do the way we've been playtesting. Honestly, has been a lot of one night games, more like the stereotypical, not the game, but like the genre of Monster of the Week. And we've been playing a lot of that. However, we have also been playing it in a way where it's the same team. So it's the same team, and if I was playing more consistently with them, I would have an ongoing plot where they would be connecting side clues with a villain. I have withheld doing that specifically because with schedules right now, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to tell that story.
Sure.
But the way it's formulated, we try to leave it open so that you could do that. You can do it as a one night session, one story, one team, move on to the next. Or you could sprinkle out clues if you wanted, say, to be chasing down a peddler of cursed artifacts, who's sending this out to different locations and different families, and dealing with the fallout of each of those while you try to track them down. You could take the season of a show basically and recreate that show if you wanted, with your own team.
Did you just reference Friday the 13th, the series? Because it sounds like Friday the 13th, the series.
In my Vegas recollection, and I've thought about stealing it. So, but I just love pop culture. So I will freely admit that a ton of my playtesting has been straight up me stealing episodes of shows that I know that my friends have not seen.
Oh, yeah.
So they don't know it. If they wanted, they could go and pretty much watch how this thing is going to play out. They just don't know what it's from. So
it also seems too, like, on the spectrum of what the Deittman files can do, it like the one end is very much like Monster of the Week. Like you're dealing with supernatural creatures and cryptids and all this awful stuff. And on the other end, it's almost like like if you were to kind of strip out the psychic stuff and the supernatural stuff, you have a really solid, like, investigate murders game.
Yes.
Here.
Yeah. Well, okay. So to be fair, I'm a murder mystery writer first.
Okay.
So I have, let's see, it's 2021. Let me see here. I have about 8 years of murder mystery writing experience, where I would write one night party sets, for my friends to come and play as a character. And they would work to uncover a mystery over the course of the night. And those did not involve supernatural elements or anything. They were just murder mysteries to the core.
Okay.
So my background is actually in murder mystery writing. So you are absolutely correct, where I have this design to involve the supernatural, but you could play with strictly investigators if you wanted and make it a mystery game.
And the way you described doing campaigns sounded a lot like a procedural show too.
Yes.
So you like individual episodes, and I love that. In fact, not only do I love that, I have said that there needs to be that game.
Oh, well, how about that?
It's one of those things where, I mean, I can't tell you, my wife doesn't play tabletop role-playing games. But I'll sit and I'll watch something, and like we'll be at her mother's and she'll be watching NCIS or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I'll be like, why isn't there a game that does this? And that kind of thing. And I feel like this is the closest I've seen to that. So I've seen other attempts at that. I feel like you've kind of hit the nail on the head.
I think the one thing that would set me apart from other games that have done things like that is that I don't try to get dark and gritty. Mm-hmm. Which there's nothing wrong with that, but there are some games that they live in a very dark and dreary world, mm-hmm. and they want you to be playing these really dark, nitty gritty, more, like Watchmen pops into my head, like if you're going to play a kind of investigative game, something in that kind of world. And I'm like, you can do that. You can do that if you want.
Sure.
The game's not going to push you there, the game is going to have moves like the Hunter's class has a new move called Loaded for Dinosaur. Mm-hmm. Like, we have fun little move names and everything, so you just take from that what you will and apply it the way you want to apply it. And, we just want to hear what you come up with. It's
like you've got a noir dimmer switch.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Turn the switch up if you don't want it too noir.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Now, how did you get started in gaming?
I started back in 2008, so we're looking at about 13 years now. I had a friend and he said, we're all trying to learn how to play Dungeons and Dragons. We don't know how to play. Do you want to play? And I said, sure, yes, just you tell me what to do. And he says, that's going to be hard because we don't know what we're doing. Mm-hmm. So we figured it out. And we played a kind of campaign in the loosest of terms because we did not know what we were doing. And then from there, I made some friends in college who also wanted to play. And, so, okay, this is just going to be a little story here. And, this is not saying anything about, men and women in gaming. This was just a funny experience. Let me put that caveat out there. Mm-hmm. My friend asked me if I wanted to play. And I said, yes, I would love to play in this one we had going on at college. And he said, great. Do you have anyone else who would like to play? And I said, no, but my 2 roommates would probably like to learn. So he said, great. So we showed up at another friend's apartment. And so the GM was there, my friend, with his friend at the apartment. And then in walks us 3 girls. And there was another guy there who had been invited to play. And he said no originally. And then us 3 girls walked in. And then apparently he thought, well, these must be the boys' girlfriends who are coming. Where are the guys? Where are their boyfriends coming to play? And then we said, no, we're the players. We're going to learn how to play Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to play. And then this guy said, you know what? I think I'll join. So he joins, and we have now been married for 7 years. We've been together for 10 years. So that is how I met my husband, was playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Great story.
And so we played there through college. We've continued to play, and just as I've gotten older, the long campaign format just became harder and harder with our schedules, which is why I started getting into this Powered by Apocalypse system. Because we started using it for more one night continuous games, same team, different story, less of an overarching plot. We didn't feel like so beholden to a schedule, and we didn't have to play for 8 hours, 3 hours on a weeknight was fine. And so as we were starting to become a little tired of, the long medieval campaign format, we started to play these other games, and that has really revived my love of tabletop RPGs. It has really kept me going, especially this past year. So yeah, that's everything in a nutshell, and it's played very heavily into my life for a large portion of it now. So I love it.
What PBTA games have you played?
So the one that I've played the most is this little game that I would guess a lot of people don't know of, and it's called Interstitial. Mm-hmm. And I heard about it on a podcast, and the idea is, it's Kingdom Hearts based, which is what that game was. And the idea is that you make characters from different worlds and you cross over and world hop. And we were just in the need for a really lighthearted game, just something really hilarious and funny. So we decided to put this together, and we had Dana Scully from X-Files. We had Courage the Cowardly Dog, Patrick Star from SpongeBob, Tinkerbell, Zach Bagans actually. And I feel Captain Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So that was our cast. And we played a reoccurring game of them world hopping, chasing down Loki, who is recreating the Infinity Stones using the help of the Death Busters from Sailor Moon. Oh. So yeah, it was a wild ride. It was a wild, wild ride. And that is what really made me love Powered by the Apocalypse, because of how wild it got. We laughed so hard. The mechanics were so easy. It worked great for the online system, playing online and everything. We just loved it. And then we had someone else who modified another book, I don't know which one, to use for Dusk Hollow, which is just a setting from MacGuffin, I think. Okay. And so they used a Powered by the Apocalypse system for us to play that. And that was, that helped with the procedural investigation. It's in a very weird town where, your neighbor might be a reptile person. There might be a dog park you all have to ignore. It's very Night Vale-esque. So we had a lot of fun with that. And then the one that we've been playing the most for very long weekend sessions has been this game that's not out yet, which is Modern Gods by Michael OJ. And I'm helping him. I'm hoping that he gets it released this year because it is great. It is fantastic. You play, it's the idea of like the American Gods kind of story. Where you can play an established god, you can create your own, and you're living in modern day and trying to hide your existence from the nefarious agency. And we've had so much fun with that one. And it's not even released. It's not even an out game yet. And we've had a blast with it. So that's pretty much what I've been doing for the past year.
Nice.
And I've put all of the other systems aside and just made time for this whenever I can.
That's fantastic. I actually, I have kind of this love of interstitial, knowing that like the groups I regularly play with would probably not be as into it as I am, but I don't know. I've played through, I played through the first two. Well, 1 and 2. I shouldn't say the first two.
There's a gazillion.
Yeah. And I started the third one, and I just kind of was like, I don't have time for this anymore. But I love the idea of like random pop culture worlds just intersecting and working together and everything. So when you said you played Interstitial, I was like, oh my God, I feel like I want to ask you a million questions about that. But
it was so much fun.
It looks very fun, and it is very much an example of what you can do with something with a framework as loose as Powered by the Apocalypse. And Vincent Baker he's one of those people that I'd love to have on my podcast. I think I was talking a little bit about like some of the people. He was the one that created Apocalypse World, but I don't know if I'd be able to talk to him at this point because I feel like I'd fanboy out.
I can say that I got to chat a little bit online with Meg, and she was very, very nice, very welcoming to the community and encouraging. She was very, very nice. So it really helped me feel like I could do this, like I could launch this game, and people would like it. So nice people.
And it looks like people. I mean, people do like you've hit your goal.
Yes, we were funded in 12 hours,
which is amazing
for someone who has never had a Kickstarter and has no gamer cred to them. I was beyond thrilled, you know. So that was exciting.
I always ask whenever someone has hit their goal for a Kickstarter, and we're having that conversation, or has had a game released. I always kind of like to ask like what would be next,
what would be next, as in like
not
stretch
a great
goals
question,
and where
but
we're
I always
going?
like to ask. Yeah.
Well, so we've actually at this point we have hit our first 3 stretch goals.
Yeah.
So we have a few more left. With our first one, we were able to invite in a guest writer, and if we hit another stretch goal later, he'll add another class, which I'm very excited about. We decided that we would hire an artist to create a little compendium of maps of haunted locations and such, so that when players are investigating, a GM does not necessarily have to search out a haunted asylum map. They have one, and they'll have rooms labeled and such so that they can, where do you want to investigate? Do you want to investigate the morgue? Do you want to investigate the hydrotherapy room? Things like that. Mm-hmm. So we'll have that laid out as a GM resource for them. And that is included in our book in the PDF for download to make it easy for printing. We are considering adding as an add-on a physical GM resource guide. So for anybody who's like, I don't want to have to print this stuff myself, give it to me. They can add it on for a small amount, and we'll make everything nice and pretty and send them an actual Deittman file with everything.
Nice.
We have now unlocked our first stretch goal as far as like one night sessions go. So we have one that we use in our play testing. It was the case of Bunny Bridge, which is based off the Bunny Man urban legend for anybody familiar with that.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I created it and ran it for a friend's birthday, and we decided that we will clean it up, make it nice, and put it in as a one-night session so that anybody who, they don't want to create their own mystery, or maybe they would like to kind of, get their feet in the water first with how the game is kind of set to run. We will provide them everything. We'll give you the maps, we'll give you the NPCs, we'll give you articles that you can show your players for research. We'll have an artist recreating kind of like Polaroids with location images and stuff like that. And that'll be like all encompassing and included, like I said, unless you want your own physical version that if you don't want to have to print, we'll add that in. And we've got, I think, 2 more one night sessions planned if we hit those stretch goals. We've got 2 more classes to add in. So we have some stretch goals still. We're really hoping that things continue as they are, and we hit those stretch goals.
Yeah, and that's part of the goal of this is to tell anyone listening to the lounge, which we get around, we get a few people.
Oh yeah.
To go out and check this out. Let's hit those stretch goals. It's always so good to see like new game designers and people with like unique points of view getting into the hobby. From I mean, I'm not saying you're just getting into the hobby, but you're.
Oh, hey, no. As far as this goes, is this formal? I am. I will admit that. This is new to me, but I've had some really great support. So many other people have been reaching out to me to help give me some advice on, like what to do next. Here's how you should format. Here's how things should go out. And the community has been wonderful. They really have been.
Fantastic. That's this has been really great. I want to talk to you about so many things.
Well, you know what? Once we're done recording, let's continue that pasta talk.
It sounds really good. I also I wanted to ask you. So you're going to go now that things are kind of opening up and everything. You're going ghost hunting.
Yes.
Are you going to be hitting up any conventions?
Actually, well, I guess I'll give them a plug. I actually have been volunteering this, assuming it runs, this will be my 10th year. I'm based in Pittsburgh. Okay. There is, the convention Techo. And I have been working for them for about 10 years. So, I will be there. I have yet to talk to them, but it shouldn't be a problem. I'm hoping to run my game, there. And I'm hoping to hit some smaller shows, but it just, with the way the world is right now, I just don't know, how feasible large conventions are as frequent as I would like.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we will be taking our show on the road too much. I hope so. But it's kind of one of those wait and see kind of things.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to be there's probably going to be a little bit more time before we really have we're really ready to do
exactly
Origins or Gen Con or something like that.
Exactly.
There's some stuff that we need to rethink as humans. But I figured I would just check because I always like to, if I get to a convention, try to find the people that I have talked to on my podcast.
Yeah, no, I hope I can make it out at some point, and I would love to be able to, talk to some people, who've maybe had a chance to play the game. For the foreseeable future though, if it comes down to, going out ghost hunting or going to a convention, hanging out with the dead seems like the more appealing option right now. I love all of you guys out there. Can't wait to see you all. It just might be 5 years. I don't know.
That is fair. That's fair. It's been rough. It's been rough.
It's been rough.
Yeah. This has been a blast talking to you. I will say, and I've been called out on this. I say to every guest, you're welcome to come back anytime you want to. But the reason I say that is because I mean to every guest, you're welcome to come back anytime, because I could literally talk to you another 2-3 hours.
Oh, yes, I think absolutely.
And just record it. I want to play games with you. I really want to play this game.
I am so down for that.
But I'd be. Hey, listen, if you got an actual play coming up or anything, and you got an extra seat, I do voices. I'm silly.
Yeah, I'm sure. I am sure that I could squeeze one in.
That would be great. Go ahead and give our audience all your plugs, and we'll put those in the show notes as well. Sure.
So I've been Alexandra Frund Clinton, author of Echoes and Ashes, a paranormal mystery, and the upcoming The Deittman Files, a ghost hunting RPG, now on Kickstarter. I have been working with an artist, Gabrielle Burke Arts. She's been fantastic. I highly recommend checking her out on Instagram. Big shout out to the LARPed.com community, who has helped me, especially with all of my graphic stuff that I am not so great with. They have been fantastic, and I couldn't have done this without them. And also special shout out to the upcoming Modern Gods game and author Michael OJ. Whenever his stuff comes out, recommend you all check it out. Just all of you wonderful supporters who have helped this little indie designer get this game going. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Jesse, for all of your help.
Hey, I'm happy to help. Thanks for coming on. I have a saying. I always, if you would like to, I always, at the end of every episode, tell my lounge lizards to keep it classy. Would you like to do the honors this time?
Absolutely. I have been looking forward to this since listening to the Alex Robert interview.
Go for it.
All right. Lounge lizards, keep it classy. Till next time.
Nice.
Thank you so much.
That's great.
I mean, was that fun or what? So yeah, Deittman Files, a ghost hunting RPG. Deittman, Deittman Files, on Kickstarter right now. Go get it, support it, check it out. Also, Alexandra has her own website. I got links. I got links. Go check that out. Check out her book. There's some just amazing stuff here. So, I look forward to talking to Alexandra more in the future. But for now, I'm going to turn it over to you know who.
The Lounge is a Misdirected Mark production, the media arm of Encoded Designs, with lots of great shows like this one. Misdirected Mark. Go live every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern to break down and get inside games, game mastering, playing games, and game design in an effort to entertain and inform you. The Lounge theme, And So It Begins by Artificial Music, is used under Creative Commons 3.0. Support Contessa at contessa.rocks. Find your host, Jesse Doc Edmond, at Doc Palindrome on Twitter. All the links from this episode can be found in the episode description.